organization for counseling, and we are paying them a small affiliation fee. When I say small affiliation fee, the services that they provide, I think it's more. So, I just yesterday about the number of callers. They say it's about 25 to 30 seafarers or their families that they call this service. So we are very happy with it. Not that the issues of the seafarers, but the services that are being provided through this counseling services. Then this, even the maritime schools, they have in their curriculum, they are mentioning about the counseling, our counseling efforts, and the details of this counseling services.
You are saying, Brother Palita, that you are working with the Maritime Academy. So why you think that the Maritime Academic cadets, it's important to tell them about stress and burnout? So why you think it's important to teach the young cadets about it?
Yeah, our experience is a lot of cadets have there are a lot of dropouts now. Lot of the maritime they join maritime schools after paying comparatively lot of money, but when they go to when they join the vessel, we have found out that after 2-3 months they come back due to the reasons that you just mentioned, brother. So we have included, we have requested, and the maritime schools have incorporated all these things that you specially mentioned while you were in Sri Lanka. So all maritime schools have incorporated these issues, and they are keeping these ITF or what you gave them while you are in Sri Lanka. So it's very successful. I must thank Doctor for all the because our focus these days is now all this time we have been enrolling members. I'm happy to say that NUSS represents 75% of the active seafarers in this country. 75% of that's a large number, because the trade union unionized percentage here is less than 10%. That's in general. But in our sector, we represent more than 75% because of the services that ITF has helped us to provide our members. And this hotline, yesterday when I checked for this counseling, they say about 25 to 30 they get callers from seafarer community. Sometimes their wives, their mother or father, and because we have asked them to provide the service not only to the seafarer but to any family member who mentions our name. So this is something we are very happy, and we are very proud, Asif.
Thank you very much, Brother Palita. And in fact, we always acknowledge the very good work in USS, because, as I said, you are one of the pioneering ITF doing this. So we have two inspectors with us, and we are extremely happy to have the inspector from one is in Asia, Colombo, Sri Lanka, and another our inspector in Houston, USA. So I have, before I go to Luang NIFOMS, I want to ask two of our brother inspector. So first of all, Ranjan, like you were a seafarer. I know you were a seafarer. So tell us that, like, now you visit ship and where you meet other seafarers. Do you think the life on board ship has changed? When you were a seafarer and today's seafarer, things are different, Brother Ranjan?
Yes, yes, Doctor. Thank you very much to this opportunity. And actually, I sail about 10 years. Is that comparing those period and now, there are a lot of difference because in those days, the general cargo vessel goes to the port. They are about 1 week, 10 days like that. Now it's come to Colombo port, the container terminal, it's 2-3 hours. That is, that even seafarers, they have too much work and they can't go solely even. And that is the one thing that is very, very quick service. And also, that that is the other thing that is the repatriation. The repatriation also not like those days. Now those days we have come 6 months or 9 months. At correct time we can go home. Now this academic COVID matters has come. Now some crew members are reporting that there are about more than 12 months. More than some in these countries there are more than 20 months they are working. But without some ports are closed for the repatriation and local Sri Lanka also some lot of problem in repatriation for its crew members. Those are the things. But now we have our Sri Lanka we have start our foreign crew members with permission of medical they are transporting to the to and to burn to reduce the burnout that is and they are sending to the temple and churches and shopping centers and so many places without we are doing that service also from our end. And we are calling with the mission to seafarers and sending the chaplain on board because now these days this problem they have to go on board and so many things. Colombo also now foreign group members there are target flight and from the that type of crew change can do all that. But medical matter also no those days if I'm sick if I'm telling somebody that they hardly know have to immediate they are taking action. Now that's also a problem that crew members can't go not allowed to go so and it's a serious case that doctor is we are providing the agent to come on board and do the treatment. But if the serious case, we are arranging with the local agent to get crew member home because we can't keep this lot of foreign Philippines, Myanmar, Indonesia. We are helping for that. Yeah. And there are a lot of changes, but comparing with those days.
Like for the show, like we heard from Ranjan. What's your experience? Do you agree with Brother Ranjan that like life on board ship has changed dramatically over last 10, 15 years?
Yes, I agree. I agree, brother Ranjan. Nowadays, everything changed. Like brother Ranjan mentioned about the even though the general cargo ship, it stayed in the boat only 1 or 2 days before like a week or two for loading and recharging. So plus shortly at night, there's no shortly. Maybe only can go short, come back, whatever. This time is very difficult to get the shortly, especially in the US and other countries.
So these are contributing to their burnout.
Yes. And also I want to mention is for the burnout, the crew on board burnout, we inspect that we go a burnout because we try to catch so many sometimes we success, sometimes we don't. I don't know.
You're right. Burnout can happen to anybody who I saw the causes. Again, some of our inspector like you, Ranjan and others. I always tell you, take care of yourself. Don't just give your life. So I'll get back to you and Ranjan soon. So let me ask Luong, because IFOMS is one of the largest seafarers union of Nigeria. Independent, one of the new union, but one of the very best union. So my question to Lou is that, as one of the big seafarer union in the ITF family, what are the well-being activity IFOM is implementing for your members? So what IFOM is doing helps Myanmar seafarers.
Yeah, thanks for allowing me to share our activities about seafarer health and well-being. IFOM is as you know, not only committed to defending the right of seafarers, but also health and well-being of seafarers. We help well-being program for seafarers and their families too, including free medical service, health and well-being, and HIV/AIDS seminar, and we also have peer education training. The aim of the peer education training means we train the seafarer about health and well-being with these professionals. Then we have them to go to their working environment to share all the knowledge, so they could even help their colleagues' health and well-being issues. IFOM is working, very closely with ITF and seafarers. IFOM also translated all fact sheet from ITF Wellbeing website that uploaded and Facebook page to our language, Myanmar language. And all the material ITF issues for seafarers, IFOM translated these into the Myanmar language and shared to our seafarer to our social media platform and IFOM website.
Do you have it's very good to know that also you are a new union, you are already started a well-being program around health and well-being. Do you have plan to start a dedicated, now you heard from NUSS, Brother Ranjan and Brother Palita, they are doing a fantastic telephone counseling service. Do IFOM has a plan to start that type of program in the near future, Lou?
Yes. In the near future, IFOM will have a dedicated program for seafarer mental health. We still try to learn how other seafarer unions doing that. We want a perfect things doing that what they're doing. So we're planning to do that. It will be happening in the very near future.
So what in relation to peer education, what you told us and you're listening that you trained your seafarers on mental health issues and well-being issues, so they know what is it, and so when they go back on board ship, they can understand this and also help other seafarers. Am I right?
Yeah, it's true. It's not only for their working environment; they could also share to their families and relatives, something like that.
But in fact, that's a very interesting point. Sometimes we forget about the family. So whatever you are doing, you are trying to support the seafarers and their families. So that's great. So Brother Shue, and I will also come back to Ranjan on this. So we understand from Brother Palita and you that seafarer come to you, come to the union with stress, fatigue, and burnout. So my question to you, Brother Ranjan first, then I'll come to Shwe. You visit a ship. There is the seafarer from, for example, from Indonesia or India. So how do you try to help that seafarer when he talks about fatigue and burnout?
Yeah. So many cases they are coming and telling me secretly that they are not like to speak it now in front of the officers, and their main thing is resting hours. Resting hours. They are telling that I am working not more than I don't have a resting 10 hours. That is, they are more than 15, 16 hours. But when I am checked from the reports, the correct hours are there. That they are sign the document also that In that case, I can't point out any in against the ship because that they have accept that that they are resting our ships, and also that when I've received the vessel, there are so many there are, food matter and fresh water and yeah, repatriation uh, and medical assistance is the main things. Yeah, yeah. Those are the things they are come and complaining. That is to assist that. The medical matters, I am contacting Harbour Master and local agent and do the needful for the visit to take him to the hospital or the visit doctor on board. Actually, we have a big link in the Colombo port. I have worked more than 30 years Colombo port. All the all the relevant people, we have a connection, and we immediate whatever we tell to them to their agent also they are very scared for us. We are whatever facilities for the seafarers we are providing, and even if they don't have a vehicle, we are providing our vehicle to take him to the hospital and do the necessary treatment.
Sure, like you, I know that in fact I talked to you, and I also know that even during the pandemic time you are visiting ship to help seamen. So, do the seafarer when you visit ship, do they complain about fatigue and burnout, and how do you try to help them?
So if they have the problem with the fatigue or burnout, or want to be repatriated, so I have to make sure I talk with the captain if they've been working, overworking, or they not enough sleep. I make sure have to be also relationship between the sometimes like officer and the crew because
Yeah,
some officer can be hard on the crew. Maybe some different language, different nationality. I make sure I make them call and talk to them. You are in the same boat. You have to have each other. And plus, if they need it, so I send Seaman Center who chaplain to do the mess on the ship also.
both you and Brother Ranjan saying that it is quite common for you to get like complain about fatigue. So, Brother Palita, you are the president of the union. So, if a Sri Lankan seafarer um, email you to NUSS email saying that my question to you, Brother Palita, that a Sri Lankan seafarer write an email to you saying that he is fatigued because he worked more than the hour he is supposed to do, and there is no rest. So, in those sort of case, Brother Palita, how do you respond? How do you help that seafarer?
Yeah, we have got several such cases. Yeah.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we have got already. We have got several such cases. So we intervene with the through the local agent. We contact the owner or the or sometime through ITF, John Cannias or somebody, and try to get connected to them, and we communicate with them, and we see to it that they are sometimes we bring the families to our office and try to get connected to the vessel and to the relevant seafarer, and also if they are near the port, we will contact the ITF affiliate there and try to provide assistance. So these are the little things that we could do when somebody from overseas or from a different port when they telephone us.
So, what about you? So, in iPhone, do you get phone calls or email from your Myanmar Seafarer Lou, and how do you respond in those cases about fatigue and burnout? Luke, did you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
So
Yeah,
how do you respond?
yeah.
You need
First, like we try to understand their working condition first, like their contract duration and their working hours, and we communicate with the GPA to take care of the seafarer health situation if needed. We urge the company to arrange for them to see a psychologist, even with the iPhone free medical service. If we need, the doctor can refer a seafarer to a psychological specialist. What we want to tell seafarer is, please, if you feel you have stress or mental health problem, don't wait to reach out to iPhone. We can support counselor with doctors. Plus, they should always check iFarms and ITF Seafarer pages in the website where we have updated material about seafarer health and well-being. Very updated.
that you were mentioning earlier, because in one case he got a heart attack and died, but there were no, because he went through a medical test before joining the vessel, and we spoke to the families, and there was no pre heart ailment to this seafarer. It is the stress and all the symptoms that you just mentioned, and his body was now we got to know last week the body was cremated, and the family is waiting anxiously to get down the ashes here to Sri Lanka. Yeah, and there was another seafarer. He only had diabetes, but he died, and these are the two deaths there. We know 101% their deaths were due to the all this stress and the conditions that you mentioned just now, and the anxiety status.
Jesse, like you represent NSU, like which signed lots of contracts, and we heard very loud and clear from Brother Ranjan, Brother Shwe, Brother Palika and Blue that fatigue, working hours, contract is a is a contributing factor to burnout. So as the NSU signs lots of agreements, so how do you see this issue? Like how NSU as a contract signing union deal with it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm really thankful to hear what activities are happening in Sri Lanka. On a wider level in the ITF, all of us union are campaigning to combat fatigue that we know is a really big problem. And one of the ways we've done that is to shorten contracts in general. So the Maritime Labour Convention says the maximum time somebody should be working at sea is 11 months. Usually the agreements that we sign is 8 months, and our ambition is in 2022 that will reduce to 7 months, which goes some way to reducing fatigue. Obviously, there are other elements as well, but hopefully that will help. That's something that all of the unions in the ITF are working towards. And one important point about fatigue recently, and you have all mentioned it, is the fact that the pandemic has prevented seafarers from being able to reach home. The ILO ruled in December, which was a historic decision, that the governments have actually failed in their duties to seafarers. And the ITF and its affiliates have been campaigning to make seafarers key workers, because we know that no matter what closes down during the pandemic, it's seafarers that keep working and keep delivering our food and our clothes and everything that we need and enjoy. So that's definitely something that we work with all our partner unions. And sadly, the government haven't been very successful in this situation.
You are saying that, like all the seafarers who are listening to us today, that our unions, like NSU, are working on a process on less shorter contract. What about the working hours, JC? So, are you also working on that for seafarers to know?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest problems, in common with the other unions that have told us and the inspectors, is that seafarers are contracted to have a minimum rest hours and work hours. And there are policies in the Maritime Labour Convention, there are policies in the agreement. And we see often, and I can see Ranjan smiling, that there are often, and Shui, I know, cases where seafarers are being asked to work for longer than they should be, and are not being able to take the rest and get the sleep that they need to. And our advice is always that we need to know about this. It's something that the shipping companies, or definitely in our sector, the cruise companies, always ask us to do. So we can't do anything unless we know that it's happening. So we ask our seafarers to write down their real hours of work, keep a record, on a piece of paper on your phone, and then you have that record of what's really been happening. Yeah, we need to know.
So thank you, Jesse. I think every seafarer listening today, so I'll get back to you, Shui. So like what Jesse mentioned, you don't have to keep your own record. And we have two inspectors, we'll hear from Shui now. But if you don't want your name to be mentioned, our inspector never mention your name. So Shui, you want to say something?
Yes, I agree with Jesse. You have to keep your own record because the rules of the company, they already put in for the the favor or the rest and work out. Unless they have to show us the proof so we can claim for them. And also they mostly they are afraid. It's like you said. I cannot keep their name for the full ship. If something happen, they don't get paid or the whole other issue, it's okay. But sometimes somebody called me for the repatriation and he said, please don't mention my name. So that's that's another problem with us in with the crew. For me is this time they really need to stand up, step up, fight for their right. Other than we want to help you, but they need to we need the support from them too.
Yeah, you're right. Like some cases, we do not need their name, but when you want to go home, repatriation, then without your name, how we can work. So yeah, but for your medical issues, mental health, we know you are afraid to be blacklisted because unofficially it happens. So our inspector will always keep it confidential. So before I give it to Jesse for the closing remark, so Brother Ranjan, if you want, your last comment to all the Sri Lankan seafarers listening today.